They called it Line 5's Ghost Run. It began as a routine test trip deep beneath Moscow. A single metro car, a small crew, a short run between stations during off hours. But on November 17, 1983, that train never reached its destination. The control room saw it leave Oktyabrskaya Station at 2:11 a.m., and then it was gone. No emergency signal, no derailment report, no sign of wreckage, just silence in the tunnels. In the 4 decades since, the disappearance of the Moscow Metro car number 8173 has become one of the city's most quietly suppressed mysteries. What happened in those dark tunnels that night? Why were the official reports sealed for years? And why did several of the metro workers involved later disappear or die under unclear circumstances? This is the story of the vanished metro car, a story buried under layers of bureaucracy, Soviet secrecy, and fear. In late 1983, Moscow's metro system was among the most heavily trafficked in the world. Its tunnels, some extending over 80 meters below the surface, were considered an engineering triumph and a security asset. That night, on November 17, a maintenance team prepared for a short test run on the Oktyabrskaya line, the circular route that looped beneath the city center. The crew, engineer Viktor Kuznetsov, 38 years, veteran driver, 14 years with the metro. Technician, Yelena Morozova, 29 years old, communications operator. Assistant driver, Ivan Petrov, 26 years, relatively new recruit. They were tasked with moving a single Type E metro car, serial number 8173, from Oktyabrskaya Depot to Park Kulturi Station after routine brake maintenance. The trip should have taken under 7 minutes. At 2:11 a.m., the control panel lit up green. Train departing Oktyabrskaya. At 2:18 a.m., the system showed the car between Oktyabrskaya and Park Kulturi. At 2:19 a.m., all indicators froze. By 2:21, the signal vanished completely. Dispatchers radioed repeatedly. No response. By 2:30 a.m., an emergency team was already moving through the tunnels. They expected a minor failure, a tripped breaker, maybe a stalled motor. But the tunnel was completely clear. No wreckage, no smoke, no lights, no sound. Both ends were checked within the hour. Nothing. At first, the incident was logged as equipment malfunction, but by morning, when engineers confirmed that the car wasn't in any adjacent track or storage tunnel, panic quietly set in. Every section of the Oktyabrskaya line was checked manually. Still nothing. The car had simply vanished between 2 stations, a 1.3-kilometer stretch of sealed tunnel. By midday, Metro Command and KGB Transport Oversight had taken control. Reports were collected, statements rewritten. The official explanation was signal calibration error. But the technicians knew better. The automatic train control system used physical relay contacts, not digital readings. A train couldn't blink out due to calibration. One control engineer, Sergei Antonov, later said in the 1991 interview, "We checked the relays, the cameras, the power feeds. Nothing failed. The car just stopped existing in our grid." For 2 days, the section remained closed under the pretext of maintenance. At least 3 deep inspection teams went through the tunnels. They found fresh scuff marks on the rails, ending abruptly halfway through. No continuation, no debris. When one inspector, Major Sokolov, reportedly demanded to file a full report, he was transferred and never returned to metro service. The Oktyabrskaya line was not just a passenger route. Beneath it ran another level of tunnels, some built in the 1940s as part of Metro 2, the rumored underground transport network for military and government use. Several retired workers later claimed that the lost car had somehow entered an unauthorized side passage, likely connected to those classified tunnels. Blueprints of the area, however, told a different story. No such branch was supposed to exist between Oktyabrskaya and Park Kulturi, yet one unverified 1984 memo from the Moscow Metro Construction Bureau noted unregistered service conduits in that very section, built during wartime expansion. Could the train have diverted accidentally into one of those sealed shafts? When divers were sent into the drainage tunnels weeks later, they discovered collapsed brickwork leading into a narrow void and faint metal scraping noises reportedly heard through the walls. The search was halted the next day. Families of the missing crew were never given a body, a uniform, or a single confirmed detail. Officially, the three were listed as victims of a technical incident resulting in equipment loss. Unofficially, whispers spread among Metro staff of the train that never came out. Maintenance workers avoided the night shift for months afterwards. Some claimed to hear distant mechanical sounds in empty tunnels long after power was shut off. In 1986, the Oktyabrskaya control logs for November 1983 were reclassified. In 1990, they vanished from archives entirely. When the Soviet Union collapsed, independent journalists tried to reopen the case. One of them gained access to surviving maintenance records. Among them was a peculiar notation from the night of the disappearance. Track relay anomaly. Signal reflection beyond 1.4 kilometer point. Reflection was the key word. It meant that the signal bounced back, as if the train had entered a looped or mirrored circuit. But how could that exist in a linear, sealed tunnel? In 2005, during modernization of Line 5, workers reopened part of the tunnel for cable replacement. They found a collapsed ventilation chamber, sealed by concrete decades earlier. Inside was a narrow, waterlogged corridor descending deeper underground. Traces of old track fragments were visible beneath the debris, rusted, twisted, and unfamiliar, thinner than the mainline rails. One of the engineers later commented anonymously, "It wasn't our construction. It looked older, and it led down." In 2010, urban explorers claimed to have recorded strange metallic sounds in the same sector, though their footage was confiscated after arrest. To this day, the fate of the missing Moscow metro car remains unsolved. Some believe it derailed into a forgotten section. Others believe it was deliberately concealed due to a classified connection with Metro 2. But what's certain is that 3 lives vanished in one of the most controlled environments on Earth, a place where nothing, not even a single light bulb, goes unaccounted for. Nearly 40 years later, the missing Moscow metro car has become both legend and warning, a story told among operators and night staff as a reminder of what the system hides beneath its polished marble and propaganda plaques. Was it a technical failure, a hidden tunnel, or something more deliberate? No one knows. But if you ride the Moscow metro late at night and listen closely between Oktyabrskaya and Park Kulturi, some say you can still hear the faint hum of a train that never reached its station.